Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Caroline Leaf, and welcome to my podcast, Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. We've all heard of FOMO, but have you heard of FOBO? I hadn't heard of it. So FOMO is the fear of missing out, but FOBO is the fear of I can't even say it. FOBO is the fear of better options. I tell you, these are two sneaky but powerful forces that can mess with our mind and thoughts, and we need help in a hurry for these. I tell you that Phobo one really got my attention. But just before we start and we dive into those and what we can do about them, I am beyond thrilled to share with you something that is very close and dear to me and super exciting. And it's my latest book. It's book number 19, and it's coming out in August. And it's called Help in a Hurry. I wrote it for me, I think. I'm sure I wrote it for me because I need help in a hurry. You know those moments where things just happen and you catch yourself overreacting or feeling out of control or feeling you're just swamped by life, and you just need something in that moment to help you out of it. Well, this book is filled with all of that kind of information. Science-backed, simply written, great techniques on how to get help in a hurry. This is in response to lots of questions that I get from you guys, from my patients I've had over the years, and as I said, from myself. And I'm really, really excited. This book will help you break free from exhausting overthinking. I mean, overthinking is exhausting and feeling like you're out of control because of life's challenges. The bad day is universal, but knowing what to do when we're faced with the ups and downs of life isn't always so universal. So that's what I've provided in this book. And if you get your copy of Help in a Hurry right now at helpinahurrybook.com, so if you pre-order, I've got some amazing free bonuses waiting just for you that I cannot wait to send you. First of all, a masterclass led by me, which really is going to be so helpful, very practical, exclusive early access to some of the chapters of the book, an invitation to join my private launch team for a great private session, a fast action study guide. All of these bonuses together are valued at over $426, and they're yours for free when you pre-order the book today. Just grab a copy of Help in a Hurry at helpinahurrybook.com. Fill out the form and we'll send you all the goodies. Okay, so let's dive back into FOBO and FOMO. So let's just redefine them. FOMO is the fear of missing out. FOBO is the fear of better options. Sneaky, powerful forces that can really catch us. These fears are magnified by what Barry Schwartz, who's done research on this, who's done research on what he famously calls the paradox of choice. So choice is what we're all about as humans. Free will choice is so important, but we live in a world where there are so many choices, so it's hard to choose the choice, and that's the paradox of choice. And this paradox of choice is very closely linked to FOMO and FOBO. The more options we have, the harder it is to feel satisfied or even make a decision. That's how Barry Schwartz famously defines the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it is to feel satisfied or even make a decision. I can relate. I'm sure you can too. Phobo, FOMO, and the mental chaos these things cause are worth dealing with. So let's talk a little bit about the sort of mental chaos that they cause. Phobo can keep you paralyzed, always wondering if there was a better option. I am sure you can relate. I can relate. There's so many options and choices, and whether it's choosing a restaurant to go to, whether it's choosing something to go on a holiday, or whether it's in a business decision, or just how to respond to someone or something like that, there's always options. There's so many possibilities, and we can narrow those possibilities down to probabilities. But it can keep you paralyzed because then you choose something and you think, oh my gosh, and you see how it plays out and think, I wish I'd chosen the other option. And you can get stuck in regrets and all kinds of things. FOMO, on the other hand, drives you to chase every opportunity. So FOMO keeps you kind of paralyzed, always wondering, was there a better option? FOMO drives you to chase every opportunity. One is paralyzing, one is chasing. Fearing because you're fearing you're missing out on something important. So you do so much that you don't enjoy anything, because it's exhausting and you're just so busy. If I'm doing this, I need to do that, and I need to do that, and I'm doing this, and I need to do that. These can both cause mental chaos. Schwartz's research actually shows that when we're faced with too many choices, we become anxious and dissatisfied. That's not a good combination. Anxious means that your brainwave energy has jumped into too much high beta energy, which means there's just too much energy flying through your brain. It's just too much. And that creates a reaction in your hormones in your body, in your heart, throughout all your organs. And it keeps you stuck in the messy mind that drives the brain and the body. So our mind becomes more and more messy the more we face with these options. And that messiness creates this anxiety and this sense of dissatisfaction. And even when we make a decision, we can still stay anxious and dissatisfied. And that can take away so much joy and peace. And this will literally be the fuel to both FOBO and FOMO, fear of missed opportunities and fear of missing out. And there's a mental cost of this choice overload of FOBO and FOMO. You're going to use a lot of mental energy incorrectly. Okay, so we have unlimited mental energy because our mind is never tired. Our brain and body get tired because they're physical, but our mind never gets tired. But if we don't use our mind properly, we stay in a messy state. So when we get getting anxious and worked up and we're trying to chase everything in the FOMO situation, or we're trying to, we're regretting every opportunity that we missed in the FOBO situation, that's just using energy incorrectly. Now, whatever you do with your mind is going to reflect in your brain, because your mind is the prism, it's the overarching you-ness that drives your brain. Your brain is simply a host to your mind and does what your brain tells it to do. So if your mind is all over this FOMO, FOBO chaos, then that generates FOMO, FOBO chaos in your brain and in your body. And it's reflected in your chemicals, in your neurochemicals, in your wiring, in the energy waves, in how your different parts of your body are functioning. So it has a whole mind, brain, body wide effect. And that uses up precious cognitive energy to make a good decision. You literally bypass your non-conscious mind where your wisdom is. You literally don't get there, not bypass, you just don't get there. You get stuck in the conscious messy mind. And the conscious messy mind is not a place where you want to get stuck. It's a place that you start your thinking, but you don't want to stay there. But FOBO and FOMO will keep you there. When your mind is constantly calculating potential outcomes in a way that you're saying, oh my gosh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I'm missing out on this, I'm doing this, but as I'm doing this, I'm wanting to do that. Oh, that opportunity, I did this, I should have done that. When your mind is constantly calculating those potential outcomes in that way, it creates toxic thought loops through the messy mind into the brain, into the body in the way that I have described. And that leads to words that we've heard like decision fatigue, where you're just like, what do I do? And it wears out the brain and the body because this constant hammering of this incorrect, what we call high beta and imbalance of energy waves and chemicals flying in the wrong amounts and all that kind of thing, and the biochemistry being upset, it weighs down your brain and your body, and this makes you mentally and physically exhausted. The other thing is it leads to a lot of rumination. So the first big thing is that you get drained of, you don't use your mental energy properly. That affects how you function mentally and physically. The other thing is it tends to lead to rumination. Where you in and act, if you think of FOMO, fear of missing out, you ruminate on what you're missing out on. Fear of missed opportunities, the FOBO, that there were better opportunities. You ruminate on, I should have chosen that better opportunity. I need a better opportunity. You just get stuck. You go round and round and round like on a hamster wheel. And that's just not good for you at all. It messes up the brain and the body in the way that I already mentioned. It also just totally disrupts your mental clarity. You can't think clearly. And it keeps you stuck in a state of mental chaos. Okay, so how do we stop this? 4 practical strategies to break free from getting stuck in the mental chaos that FOMO and FOBO can cause. Okay, first one, pre-decide in key areas of your life. So make decisions in advance. So you can reduce the fear of missing out on the FOMO and the FOBO by setting clear criteria for your decisions ahead of time. Clear-cut criteria. So you pre-decide in key areas by setting clear-cut criteria. I want to do this. This is the decision. These are the criteria. This is what I want. So you've got a lot of data. When you have more data, it's much easier to make a better decision. So you pre-decide. Don't just rush into a situation. Decide in advance. This is the direction that I'm now going to go. So what are all the criteria that I need so that I can choose the right opportunity so that I'm not going to land up in FOBO? And while I'm or I'm going to be doing these things and then get into this FOMO situation. Okay, so reduce FOBO by setting clear criteria for your decisions ahead of time. For example, here's a simple example. I gave you one for like a business thing, but a simple one. If you're choosing a restaurant, decide that ambience and proximity matter most or whatever. So pre-decide. You want the ambience, you want it to be close, and stick with your first good choice. Instead of thinking, oh no, maybe I want this, maybe I want that. Generally, when you get into a clear state of mind, you bypass the messy mind, the messy conscious mind, and you get into the wise and unconscious. And the first thing that comes up is generally going to be the right direction to go in. So that's a good thing to remember. Next thing, set healthy digital boundaries. Okay, I know you've heard this a million times. I'm just going to remind you. Limit your scrolling through social media or review sites, because then you're going to see what other people are doing, what other people look like, what they're saying, where they're at, and that's going to lead to lots of FOBO and lots of FOMO. Okay, so too much input fuels FOBO and FOMO, because let me just remind you, you make a great you, but you make a lousy someone else. So when you look at other people's stuff constantly on social media, that's not you. You're not going to do what they're doing well. You do what you do well. You make a lousy someone else. So bear that in mind. So if you can look at the social media and celebrate them, guess what that's going to do? Instead of being jealous and getting stuck in FOBO and FOMO, you can then celebrate them. That'll actually open up your mind even more and show you how you could be doing something similar that's more authentic to you, that's unique to you, and you'll be doing it well. So you can avoid FOBO and FOMO like that if you are scrolling. Next thing, embrace imperfection and satisfices, as Barry Schwartz points out. Seek options that are good enough. Okay, satisfied, okay? They are often happier than maximizers who obsess over the perfect choice. Okay, put up my hand here. We obsess over the perfect choice and beat ourselves up about the other choices that did work, but they could have been better. You don't know if those other choices could have been better. The past is over, and we have to move into the future. So anything that's a choice that's been made and an option that you chose, or whatever you did, it's happened. And if you feel yourself going to FOMO and that mental chaos, what you can do is stand back and say, okay, I'm feeling this. There's a reason I'm feeling this FOBO, that I've missed out on an opportunity or I've missed out on something. What is that? What can I learn from that? So shift it over to what can I learn from that? And then you can be satisfied. Okay, well, that was for then. I'm satisfied with that. What can I learn? And now I can move over to the future. If you get stuck being a maximizer, you're going to always obsess over the perfect choice. You're going to spend so much time just never being able to release the bad choices. And maybe they weren't even bad, but you make them bad because you're looking for the perfect choice, that you're going to battle to move on. And so much energy has been wasted. By the time you've done that, you've lost so much clarity and you've lost time and all kinds of things. But you can always recover that. Then what I'm strongly recommending is to make all these happen in your life. Really this requires mind management. And that's why I have the Neurocycle. And you can find the Neurocycle on the App Store and iOS, and we also have a web version. It's my 5-step process that helps you to catch those patterns, those toxic thought patterns triggered by FOBO and FOMO, and help you to identify them, find where they come from, deconstruct them, reconstruct them into intentional, healthy thoughts that will take you forward, so that you'll be able to reconceptualize and say, okay, well, that was the opportunity that I chose, but that is not, I feel that there was a better one, but let me look at the good of that. Let me look at what I can learn from that, and let me take what I could learn and all of that into the future. The Neurocycle will help you get into that pattern, will help you get out of that chaos. I just have to warn you, you can't change a habit overnight. You know that. You also can't change a habit in 21 days. That's a myth. Okay, you're going to take at least 63 days. I've done 40 years of research in this area. That's why I do what I do, in order for you to rewire your mind-brain-body connection. Your mind's not your brain. Your mind's separate from your brain. In order to rewire, you need to work through an organized system daily to get that rewiring happening. So it's going to take you, if you're stuck in FOBO or FOMO or both, it's going to take you daily around about 15 minutes. You do 5-step Neurocycle daily for about 15 minutes for at least 63 days. And if you think, oh my gosh, I don't have 63 days. Well, if you don't do it, in 63 days' time, you've practiced FOBO and FOMO even more, and you've made yourself 63 days times 63 days worse. So you've just made it worse. So catch it, do it. You can do it while you're getting ready. It's not difficult to use the Neurocycle, but to break FOBO and FOMO and apply these principles, I really recommend the Neurocycle. It really works. It helps. It's scientifically proven to help you. The Neurocycle will help you bypass the messy mind, tap into the wisdom of the unconscious, and reconceptualize and move forward. In conclusion, remember, your mind is powerful. It is the most powerful thing in the universe. Your mind creates thoughts, and thoughts change your brain and your body and show up in your life. So you can change the way FOMO and FOBO, which has become a pattern of thought, you can change that. You with your mind can change your mind. Literally, you with your mind change your thoughts, because your thoughts are built by your mind. You don't have to run or be run by fear of missing out and fear of lost opportunities. By setting boundaries, simplifying choices, and managing your thoughts through using the Neurocycle, you can reclaim your mental clarity, and we all need that. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you've loved this episode, I've loved doing it with you. Share it with a friend who needs a mind, brain, body boost. If you want to learn more about how to manage your mind and optimize your brain, check out my books and my Neurocycle app, as I said. And you know what? Keep thinking deeply, living intentionally, and hacking your mind, brain, and body for a better life. Help in a Hurry is here for you. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.